All right. Sorry for the wait, everybody. Another technical glitch that I had to pull through, but we've made it. Hello to my friends and Pega partners from all over the world. Welcome to this special edition, the Customer Engagement with Blueprint to Source More Leads edition of the Pega Partner Hour, a monthly webinar with some special editions on occasion that provides Pega partners with support in the sales, technical, and industry domains. As a reminder, we'll be recording the session. If you prefer not to be recorded, please feel free to drop from the call, and you're welcome to watch the recording at a later time. Speaking of recording and watching, the Pega Partner Hour Historical Archives has a new home. You can now find the backlog of episodes on the event page at partners.pega.com. If you go there to the partner home portal, the portal page, on the top, hover over resources and support. That'll come down if you scroll down to events and webinars, because we are an event. And on the left side, you can check off Pega Partner Hour and you'll then see the full back catalog of all the episodes. So before I introduce today's very special guests on this very special edition, a quick reminder, if you do not already know and you do not already remember, we are rolling up on Pega World. The registration's still open. The place is Las Vegas, Nevada at MGM. June 1st to June 3rd. And you just want to remind everybody, if you aren't signed up yet, this is our premier event for the year. And it's been quoted, I get the number a little bit off, but it's something like 70% of our annual business can be traced back to Pega World year over year. So if you haven't already, get yourself registered so we can all get together in Las Vegas. Also, if you're already going to Pega World and you have not registered for the Partner Summit, please, that's on Sunday. Security, it's down a hall, and security's not going to let you down the hall if you haven't registered. If you don't have the link, send a question to your partner manager or send me an email. My email address is up there, and I will get you the registration link if you need it, but you can't get in. That's Sunday at 3 o'clock. So please make sure you get a chance to do that. All right, so let's get on today's special edition with our own CDH and customer engagement experts. I've got Director of Global Partner Management, Jared McQuarrie, our Solutions Consultant Specialist and one-to-one customer engagement, Teagan Callahan, and number 3 on the intro, but number 1 in your hearts, Senior Decisioning Specialist, Mike Callahan. Jared, with that very quick intro, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Awesome. Thank you, Randy. So this is kind of a new series that we're putting together for our CDH partners here in North America. So this will be the first webinar of a series. We'll be looking at other activities to do as well to help support you guys and all that you're doing. What I'm excited about today is we've been using Blueprint here internally, testing it out, doing a lot of different things. We've been then working with a lot of you and your partner managers have to start to figure out how to better utilize Blueprint in our everyday activities that we're doing with our clients and in our prospecting as well. And so what we wanted to do today is really focus on an overview of Blueprint for those of you that may not have done that yet, but it's going to go well beyond that. And so we're going to be talking about Blueprint, but we're going to be talking about how do we best utilize Blueprint to be able to generate new leads from your existing clients that you guys have today. In addition to that, this will also apply for any prospects that you're looking at. And then we're going to round this up a little bit with bringing Mike into the conversation to talk about how do we best take these blueprints that we create and utilize them when we're submitting new partner source leads. And it would apply as well for any opportunity that you might be co-selling where you might have a different angle that you would like to share from a use case or an MLP status or standpoint with your Pega sales team. So our hope here is to help you guys get a better sense of certain elements of configuring your blueprint to be able to get it ready to share with your clients and prospects. And then from there, being able to take that to the sales team and being able to create much more of a flow as well as a way to work more quickly through, I guess I would just say, coming together with the Pega sales team to have more of a unified approach as you go back into conversations with the client. And then, most likely you're going to refine these over time. You're going to tweak them, and you might even be doing that with the client to the point to where you really get a solid blueprint that you're going to use as that foundation. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this over to Teagan, and let me go ahead and share my screen for the presentation. And we also have a Q&A section. If you guys have any questions, please put those down below, and we'll do our best to answer those as we're going through. And then at the end, we'll also leave some time. We'd love to get some feedback from you guys on how you're using Blueprint and any questions that you might have.
Sure. Thanks a lot, Jared. So welcome, everyone. Really excited to talk to you today about customer engagement Blueprint, which is different, for those who don't know, from our platform Blueprint offering. So if you want to go to the next screen, Jared. So these are us. We already introduced all of us today. So I'll talk about what Blueprint is in the next slide. So when I think about Blueprint, it's our latest and greatest generative AI tool, and that's how I always start talking about it to our clients. It's really designed for a couple things, and the first one is to help our clients understand how one-to-one decisioning works in real time across all of their channels. The second one is to accelerate the delivery of the customer decision hub with our clients. And the third is for them to grow and expand into new lines of businesses, new channels, if they already have an existing customer decision hub application. And if you take a look at this slide, Blueprint's going to do a couple things for across all of these different areas of growth. So you can build new customer journeys. You can define a brand voice, create brand new actions using generative AI. We can suggest data models and have conversations with data scientists about what data they should be using to drive those real-time decisions. And then we can really guide the sales to delivery process using Blueprint, and that's the long-term goal. So on the next slide, I kind of talk about this a little bit more, give you a visual of those three processes that I talked about earlier. So again, the first one is to help our clients understand. And this is really at the beginning of the sales cycle. A lot of the times we only get 30 minutes to an hour when we're first talking to a champion or some kind of sponsor at one of these companies. So I like to start off by building my own blueprint ahead of time to save as much time as possible. I go in, usually Mike or any other one-to-one specialist will present a couple of slides. Why is CDH important? How is it going to help your business? And then in the past, we used to get asked a lot, well, how does this work? How is real-time decisioning different from Adobe and Salesforce? How can we display this across all of our channels in a unified way? Isn't that a really hard thing to do? And in the past, we used to have to do slides. We used to have to pull up a demo of Customer Decision Hub, and maybe that really didn't resonate with the marketing folks or even the data folks. We're finding that customer engagement blueprint, showing that to answer that question, is really getting to the marketers, especially when you show the simulate NBA section, which I'll talk about a little later. And then, so once we start off the sales process, we have that initial understanding. Everyone's on board to what one-to-one decisioning does for your business. The sales cycle starts progressing, and that's where we start to bridge the sales and delivery cycle. So once it gets to that point where the client's ready to purchase Customer Decision Hub and implement it, we move on to that second step, which is delivering one-to-one. So that initial blueprint that I typically build is the vision of Customer Decision Hub. So this is the entire unified approach. So customer engagement unified across all of your channels, all of your outcomes, and all of your lines of business. Show them the vision. The second blueprint that I build is for the delivery, and this is more towards your MLPs. We're now calling this MIPs inside of Pega, minimum inspirational product. And this is because we're using Blueprint to define that MLP. So this is a smaller scope blueprint, but more specific. So usually choose one outcome on one channel, just like you're doing on MLPs today. And this is really, you work with the marketers, you work with the new client to define their actions in an easy UI, allows everyone to collaborate on it. And then you can take that, hand it over to the delivery side of things. So everyone's speaking the same language, and there's no questions on what needs to be delivered in that first MLP. So that's really the second step there. The third step is really on the client themselves. So once they're already using Customer Decision Hub, it's always a struggle for the either CMOs or directors under them to go to people and say, we want to expand into your channel. We want to expand into your product or line of business. It's honestly a whole new sales cycle. You have to convince these other lines of businesses how we can help you with Customer Decision Hub. And we're finding the best way to do this will be through Blueprint as well. So you can show them, this is all the existing actions we have. This is what they look like on the existing channels. This is what it's going to look like on your channels. And it's a pretty simple interface, especially with that Simulate MBA, for a client to go to other stakeholders in their business and say, this is what we want to do for you. This is what we're doing for us right now. And I've had to talk to a lot of clients recently that they're using that Simulate MBA to convince other stakeholders in their business.
I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing that for a minute there. So I guess for everybody that's watching, do we have, I don't know if we have any Q&A in here yet, but I would love to see any questions you guys have, as well as any insights you have to how you guys have been using it so far. So if you do have those, go ahead and put them into the Q&A tab, and you can find that. While we serve some of that up, Teagan and Mike, what I'd love to better understand a little bit more specifically for you, Mike, too, is how have you seen partners using the Blueprint, or maybe you haven't seen them bringing as many blueprints to you as you'd like? How would you like to interact more with partners and blueprints when you're dealing with new opportunities?
Yeah, thanks for that. Forgive my look. I have a little place down on Cape Cod, and yesterday there was a superstorm that happened down here. So I had to get up early and get down here to make sure the house didn't float away. So I look like a guy that's working on his lawn outside. So apologize for the hat and all that. But that said, so strategically, this blueprint has permeated itself across all Pega products. Okay. And it's much more mature on the case and the workflow side. As a matter of fact, they're already taking blueprints and building MLP ones around that, or minimal inspirational products around that case blueprint, that workflow blueprint. The adage of use Pega to build your applications. Well, now it's use Blueprint to build your applications. On the CDH side, it's still maturing. Okay. So I think at this point, it's very good for ideation. I think it's very good to explain how decisioning works. It's very good to engage with those people in marketing areas that are traditionally alienated by things such as marketing automation technology, or just aren't really engaged in it. And this is a good way to bring them in, especially on the content side. So there is some maturity that is required for the blueprint, and our product team is on top of that. Sooner or later, as Teagan explained, the blueprint will seamlessly be integrated into our one-to-one ops manager, and you'll be able to kick off building an action in a very quick period of time and very seamless manner, exploiting many different pieces of our CDH application to bring fast value to a client. But right now, what we always did with Pega, and if I've worked with any of you all, we deliver a great presentation, a great first demo. And I think there's a pause afterwards where people are like, well, what do we do next? Right? How do we advance this forward? And our answer was, okay, well, let's schedule a big decisioning workshop. And, I think for some customers, that's a good idea. For others, it sounds like it's a lot of resources and time out of their day. But if we can schedule a blueprint workshop with them where we're actually getting in, and one of our guys like Teagan or one of the other CDH SCs or one of you are sitting and you're speaking with ideally a collaboration of marketing and business and IT and data people, and coming up with ideas, this blueprint is the best way I've seen in a long time to build that collaboration and produce an outcome that can be actually beneficial for everyone, especially those that are brand new to CDH, to use that as an internal selling tool at higher levels to gain buy-in for CDH and move forward with why we're different, why we're valuable. Here's how it looks. We're going to put this into production and be able to get a deal faster than the 12 to 18 months it typically takes with CDH. Okay. So all of this is still working itself out. But if you folks are out there in the field, everybody has access to this blueprint tool. I highly suggest you sit down and say, let me show you a new way to look at customer engagement, and let's build this blueprint together. And then you come to us and say, we think we have a legit opportunity. Here is what the blueprint looks like. That is going to speed our engagement much faster. And so that we can start to look at it and say, wow, this looks really compelling. Let's build a strategy and let's go back to the client together. You folks are leading it. We're the tool. You're the general contractor around this. But we know that there's a legitimate opportunity here. Saves a ton of time, really, to qualify quickly and work together more effectively. That's how I would like to see things moving in that direction. I just wanted to express that for everybody, as this probably would be a great sales model for partners in Pega to work together going forward. Jared.
Yeah. So Mike, thank you for that, because, you know, where I think we can take sales to the next level. And as Mike reiterated, we always want to be able to move the process quicker, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Blueprint's going to help us be able to do that in a lot of ways, because it goes beyond the demo. It starts to use applicability. We're able to customize it to the customer right now in real time. We're able to, as Teagan showed you guys, brand it in that same brand voice as the client already has. So to them, they're going to see this as a completely customized tool. They're going to see this as something that's very relevant to them, especially if you take the time to, you know, hit the different categories, nomenclature, all of the different ways that they speak. And it's not just in their brand voice, but it's also, you know, labeled with their product names and things along those lines.
Mm-hmm.
As we're doing that, you know, from a partnership standpoint, okay, where I see a huge benefit, and this is what Mike's alluding to, and this is one of the reasons we put this webinar together too, is when you're sourcing an opportunity, sometimes you may be having conversations with the sales team before you source the opportunity. You may want to understand a little bit more where Pega is with that particular client. That's something that a person like me, one of the partner sales managers, can help you guys with. But once we start to understand that, if it's a true relationship that you already have with the client, just like Mike described, I think it would be very beneficial to start to go through and at least an initial blueprint with them. And then I would bring that back to the sales team as you submit that lead, and start to have that conversation with the account executive at Pega. So Mike, if you're dealing with you know, Steve Gross's team, and then there are other specialists, one-to-one specialists that we'll be working with on some of the other sales teams. But to me, the key is looking at this as a work in progress, as something that's going to evolve and continue to get better. You don't have to start a new blueprint every time. You can go in and tweak things as Teagan showed you, and you can continue to refine this blueprint with the Pega sales team, but putting in the input that may be coming from them, some of the insights they have, the relationships they may already have with the client. And the hope is we create something that becomes more and more closely aligned to what an MLP1 could look like. And then in time, as we can upload that into one-to-one ops manager, you speed up the process. And so I'm really excited. I'm seeing a lot of great benefits that are going on with Blueprint. I'm seeing some of my partners that I work with being able to accelerate the sales process. A lot of sellers at partners are starting to feel more comfortable even presenting a blueprint with someone that they may know within an organization. Maybe they're not a senior, maybe they are senior, but they don't always feel like they have to bring that SC along with them. They feel like this tool is allowing them to be able to demonstrate that. And typically that's going to be more on the business side than going into, you know, to the technical or the IT side of it. But it does give you that ability to do that. So if you're having lunch with someone, you can download an app, you can pull this up on your phone, you could pull it up on a tablet, an iPad, or even on a computer, and you could start to go through that process. And if it's something you're not totally comfortable with, we can always arrange for your team to meet with an SC when we can find time around that opportunity with your Pega sales rep to kind of go through some of that process. Additionally, your partner managers may be able to help you with that. And the reality is everything in this life pretty much gets better with practice. So I'd also encourage you guys just to get out there and practice it, and not to just go through it quickly, but to stop and see what you can change, what happens when you change these fields. And then kind of the last thing I'll just throw out there as far as Blueprint goes is it is using generative AI, and it's going to be as good as the input you give it. So the more input you give it, the more you customize it, the more you define what you're trying to get out of it, the better results you're going to get. And if you're not really getting what you want in it, go back to the beginning. You may need to go and change some of the information that's in there. And as Teagan said, you can also use other tools like ChatGPT to come up with that description that's going to be used by the model. So I don't think we have any Q&A. So I think you guys are probably just soaking this all up. This is recorded, so we are going to put this out there for you to share with the rest of your teams, and we'll get a link out to everybody. So I do encourage you guys to do that. If you have any questions, please reach out to your partner manager. If you're working through a specific opportunity and you're wanting to dive into that specifically with the Pega sales team, I would encourage you to reach out to the Pega sales rep, also CC your Pega partner manager, just so that we are in sync. But that's pretty much what I had for today. And hopefully this was beneficial. If it was, we'd love to hear back from you guys about doing more of these. And I don't mean just the same thing, but doing more sessions specifically for partners around CDH to help answer your questions, bringing other experts like Teagan and Mike to the table to help you guys get just a little bit more, personalized education.
Jared, thanks, man. I thought this was great. For me, the question I have, and you kind of answered at the end, but you're going to have some people who got on this call who kind of know what they're doing when it comes to this stuff. And you're going to have some people, like me, who are not trained in CDH and customer engagement and are newer to it. What's the best way to play with it? Not break it, get some learning under my belt. Like, what are some good practical use cases I might be able to go to Blueprint and play with? Like, give me the first couple, it's generative AI, as you said, and the more you tell it, the better it's going to be. Give me some ideas of how maybe I could play with it to get it going if I'm just starting.
I think you can, Jared, let me chat.
Go ahead.
Anybody can jump on any brand and start. This is almost break proof, right? You don't break anything. You can go in. If you're ever curious about how CDH would be applied to a brand, just go in and put the brand in, and your common sense. Okay, if I was this brand, I'd probably want to, sell to our customers. I'll pull down a prompt that's automatically created for you, and just walk through the process and get a good feel of what a persona is, right? What treatments are across channels, what an action library actually is. Because frankly, these were all terms that I think the general marketer, that if we ever engage with, is often confused with the different terminology that Pega goes to market with. We are very Pega. And when we create products and service, products, we go to market with a very non-industry regular term about something. Taxonomy is a great example. I mean, what the heck's taxonomy? Yeah. But that is addressed in Blueprint. So you can, if you're developing an account plan, if you're on the business development side of your business and you're looking at a territory or target accounts, go in and just start to build a blueprint with one of those target accounts. Make that Gen AI scrape the website and create for you a profile of what this brand is trying to do in the marketplace. How would they think they're going to the market, and start to really build something out that is aligned up with their go-to-market strategy so that when you get the chance to speak with somebody, you've got some really good ammunition to show them instead of a generic value proposition for your organization that may or may not hit it with somebody. A blueprint will hit it with somebody. That's how I look
Well,
at it.
and Mike, just to kind of reiterate your last point there too, the blueprint we just went through was already created by Teagan, okay? And he shared that with me. So I want to point out one thing that you just said too, Mike, is if you're in the business development, the sales side of things, account management, and you're going to have interaction with the client, um, maybe you only work with one client, maybe you work with multiple clients. You can have these blueprints already created, so you can just pull them up and show it to them. You don't have to sit there and go through the whole process with them as you're doing it, right? So it doesn't have to be on the fly. It can be predetermined already. And what I like about that is that'll give you a little bit more time to customize it and make it better. And as you find new pieces of information out, like Teagan did with TELUS, he picked up that they have animals next to devices all the time. Maybe you missed that on the first go round, but you're sitting in their offices and you're noticing that that's how all of their advertising and marketing is. You can go in and you can tweak that. The other thing I wanted to just point out too is you can play around with this and experiment with it. I came back from Disney World on a family vacation, and I thought of some processes that would be way better if Disney was using Pega. So I used our platform blueprint to go create kind of the experience there as far as how it might function. And then I came in and used our blueprint for customer engagement to figure out how they might move me along through that process, as well as educate me and inform me of the different things that they could possibly use. So you've got the ability to really go into things that aren't even from the drop-down menu. You can create it by yourself. For me, I didn't sit there and type it all up. I did speech to text, and I tried it out. So, one of the things I would recommend is just get your hands dirty with it. Use it as an example for your current customers, so you have it in your back pocket for you. And I would look at getting the app. You can log into that on your phone. And I would also, kind of like what Mike was saying, I would take the time to walk through it yourself and understand what these different, terms are and how it works with the blueprint. You can't break it. It's not something that you can break. It's not something you're going to accidentally send to your client. So you can look at their competition as well and create something to play around with that too.
Jared, that's awesome, man. I think there's probably a lot of people that if they start doing that, right? Let's say, for example, Disney. It's obviously a huge ask. Disney's a big company, but if you're working with a company and you see something you think they can use and you work up this blueprint on your idea and you have a meeting with them and you proactively show them what is effectively a demo and a final product of what they could do, they're going to take it serious, man. Like the idea that you can build it and show it, it's one thing to be with them and do it right along with them in real time, but it's another thing to say, have you guys thought about this? And then backtrack how you did it and show them what you put into it. And then maybe they start giving you some nuances. Say, well, actually, let's change this one thing. And you come this collaborative effort. I've seen people doing this now and clients are lighting up with, well, we've been working on this idea for months. How did you do this?
And just on the Disney experience, the example, probably a lot of you have gone to Disneyland, Disney World, and they have the ability for you to pay extra money to basically reserve a slot to come back to a ride later. It wouldn't be all that hard to use CDH if Disney decided to do things to get you to sign that up earlier. Maybe it's something you forgot to do in the park. You're not sure if you want to spend the money if there's still times available. There's things like that could be done with next best action to very much make it, a better experience. So like Randy said, I take things that I think through and I make blueprints and I have fun with it. So I encourage you guys to do that. And I want to thank everybody for coming out today. And we will get this out to the invitees so your team has this. And then please do share it. Hopefully this was helpful for you guys. And if you've got any suggestions or any topics that you would like us to bring into this format just for partners around customer engagement, please let us know. You can email Randy, you can email me. as well. And we're always happy to help you. Reach out to your partner manager too. Thank you, guys.
Hey, thank you very much, everybody. And that brings us to the close of another Pega Partner Hour. Big thanks to everybody that shows up month to month on the invitee end. We wouldn't be here if we were just talking to nobody. And especially thank you to my man, John Lynch, who makes it all happen in the background. And of course, today, thank you to Jared, Teagan, and Mike. Gents, great job on this special edition. The CDH is huge. Customer engagement is huge. People are just going to start using it more and more. So thank you very much. We'll see you June 1st in Vegas at Pega World. If you see us before we see you, please stop us and say hello. Until then, sell and be well. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, guys.